everyone, Big Seven here, back again for some more NFL Draftstars content. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm not sure how to start this other than last week was an absolute disaster. I'll go through it pretty quickly. The main thing that cost me was a lack of Taysom Hill. I think, last week it was Taysom Hill that was the slate breaker at tight end, 37 points, only in 1% of teams. If you had him, absolutely smashed it. So last week it was Taysom Hill. The week before it was TJ Hawkinson. So hopefully I can find the slate breaker this week. But yeah, no Taysom Hill when he goes 20 points better than the next best tight end at a basement price. That's pretty incredible. What did I do last week? I went a little bit of Fournette. My main guy, Jamal Williams. I'm sure I've passed him. Jamal, where are you? 5 points. Yeah, only 5.6 in what was supposed to be a workhorse role. Really scuppered me last week. I had him in about 40% of my teams. The other two I had a fair bit of. Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry both did reasonably well, but not outstanding compared to everyone else. They were solid, but not slate breaking. Gabe Davis absolutely smashed. I had a few Josh Allen stacks, but none of them with Gabe Davis. That was a real oversight. Also had some Geno stacks, but the two that I had didn't have Lockett in it. They went for DK instead. And so, big result from the winner there, 255. They ended up having Allen Diggs and Gabe Davis, so double stacking that game. And then Lockett and Taysom Hill as well. Incredible lineup, 30 ahead of any other team. Almost perfect, apart from probably Deebo Samuel there. My entries, and yeah, one that was close-ish, I guess. Carson Wentz as the QB, stacking that game. Curtis Samuel wasn't great. Had Olave, had Lockett in that one. But yeah, nothing really to sing and dance about last week. Quite a lot of teams failing to cash. Hopefully we can rectify that this week. So I haven't built my teams yet, but I'm basically gonna go through the players that I'm targeting by position. I'll start with running backs because that's the one I've kind of looked at the most. Saquon and McCaffrey, the two to pay up for if you do want to pay up for running backs, both capable of putting up monster scores. I prefer cheapening out a little bit this week. Leonard Fournette put up a big score last week, 35 points against a Atlanta team. Pittsburgh are missing so many pieces this week on defense, and I'm expecting Tampa Bay to cook this week. I guess the only slight downside with Fournette is he may get taken out of the game in the fourth quarter when the game is dead, but even still capable of putting up 30 plus this week. Ramondre Stevenson should do well getting the full workload finally. He had something like 80% of snaps last week because Damian Harris went out injured. Probably won't be as high this week, but Cleveland is a good matchup for running backs, and Stevenson can cook at this lower price point. Don't mind Breece Hall either. I guess he did put up a big score last week, and so you would expect him to regress down a bit. 2 receptions for 100 yards. You would expect him to regress, but only 1 touchdown. Still sharing with Michael Carter, but he is getting a bigger share each game. And I think this is a sneaky chance for an upset as well. Green Bay coming back from London won't be easy for them. Kenneth Walker, this is his first week that he's going to have the main running back role. They'll still use a bit of DJ Dallas, but I'm happy to pay $10,700 for Kenneth Walker and see what he does in a game against Arizona, which should be pretty high scoring. Raheem Mostert, he's questionable but expected to play. I think he's kind of just gone under the radar. Normally, he isn't fit this late into a season, which is a positive. Miami should rely on the run game a bit more with Skylar Thompson as the third string quarterback getting the start this week. And Raheem Mostert is the guy getting the majority of the carries now. So at under 10K, he's one I'm really looking for. As is Eno Benjamin, 9,090. Arizona missing both of their other running backs in Darrell Williams and James Conner this week. I'm fairly sure Conner's been ruled out. Yes, he has. He's inactive. So Eno Benjamin should get the workhorse role there. And again, this will be a high matchup game. I probably won't go Kenneth Walker and Eno Benjamin in the same lineups, but I will have a lot of them with one or the other in them. Wide receivers, Cooper Kupp is just so expensive this week, 5,000 more expensive than a Justin Jefferson or a Stephon Diggs. So on the one hand, he's going to be a pod because it's going to be really hard to get to. But on the other hand, the value around Diggs and Jefferson is just a lot better if you want to go for a premium guy. So I wouldn't say fade Kupp completely, but he's not. I don't think he is good value for money. Stephon Diggs attached to the Kansas City game. That should be a ripping game to watch. It's a shame it's not on prime time. But Stephon, capable of putting up big scores, has put up a 47 already this year. A few scores around the 30s. This is another game he can potentially smash. As is the case for the other Buffalo wide receivers, Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie. These guys will go into some stacks with Josh Allen, and all of them, capable of outperforming their price point. While I'm talking about that matchup, I would be avoiding the Kansas City wide receivers. None of them put up anything more than 20 this year, which you kind of need in this kind of slate. Like maybe a 15 from Hardman would cut it, but really for these guys, you're looking for 20 plus, and they just haven't shown that they're capable of it with Patrick Mahomes there. Patrick Mahomes' main target is Travis Kelce, and Kelce should put up another monster score. I'll go into tight ends a bit later. And then, Jefferson, always a solid option, has been hit and miss this year, but hitting more often than missing. I'm happy to take him at this price. A bit cheaper down, you've got Mike Evans. Again, Tampa Bay should smash the matchup. Also brings Chris Godwin into play for double stacks. Jamar Chase a bit cheaper than this is the cheapest he's been all year. I'm hoping that Zach Taylor has some plays schemed up for him because it's been a bit one-dimensional at the Bengals. But 12,500, we know he's capable of big weeks, and T. Higgins out means more target share for him. Hollywood Brown, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, all in a high-scoring matchup, all really solid options. Gabe Davis mentioned before. T. Higgins might actually play, but I'm probably fading him. I think there's a chance that he's on a snap count, and I just don't want to take that risk. Christian Kirk being very solid this year. Doug Peterson came out and said that they want to get the ball in his hands 10, 12 times a game. And so that bodes well for his scoring this week. Whenever a coach says that kind of thing, then it usually comes to fruition. Brandon Ayuk, a bit cheaper, also an option. Tyler Boyd comes into play if T. Higgins is out and might just be a play regardless. Devin Duvernay, I think, is going to fly under the radar a little bit. I really liked his usage last game. He was being involved in the running game and in the passing game as well, kind of like in a Debo hybrid role. I will have a bit of him. Alec Pierce, he's started to show signs of breaking out. I don't mind him either. George Pickens is the one I'm really loving at this value, 7,100. You can see the start of the year, first 3 games, Trubisky under center, Fourth game, Trubisky taken out of the game to put Kenny Pickett in. Pickens and Pickett obviously have that connection, and 7,100, even in a tough matchup, I'm happy to take that. And then Zay Jones, I've been taking a fair bit of this year. I'm capable of putting up big scores. Trevor Lawrence likes to throw to him in the end zone. And Romeo Dobbs, 6,800, has put up some good weeks, put up some poor weeks, but yeah, at that price point, more than happy to take the risk on him. I've had a quick look at 6K wide receivers, none that really jump out at me, apart from Russell Gage. He is my man. He should be the third wide receiver in this offense. There's a chance he plays more if the game is dead as well. 6,000, yeah, just a periphery option in a good offense. Julia Jones out also helps him a bit. On to tight ends, and I think the first guy I need to mention is Taysom Hill. 37 points last week. That is the exception, not the norm. But the way he's being utilized means that he is a legitimate option every week. Capable of rushing touchdowns, capable of receiving touchdowns, capable of passing for touchdowns. With that being said, I think he's going to be really popular this week, and he's obviously a good play, but I just think that there's a decent chance he comes back down to earth, puts up a 2 or 3 point game because, yeah, he's playing that gadget role where he's not on the field all of the time. When he is, there's a chance of explosive plays, but I think most weeks is going to be boom or bust, and just with the high amount of ownership that I'm expecting on Taysom Hill this week, I'm going to avoid him. I'm going to try and pay up for the big dogs, Kelsey and Andrews. In particular, Andrews, who I think will be less owned than Kelsey, will get a large amount of target share with Rashad Bateman out once again, and he's just been putting up really good scores nearly every single game. So Mark Andrews, a smash for me, as is Travis Kelsey in the Buffalo-Kansas City game, which I'm expecting to be high scoring. These two I'm trying to smash into a lot of my lineups, and hopefully one of them can put up a 30 or 40 performance this week. Outside of the big dogs, Zach Ertz has been chugging along nicely this year. 10 points every game, projects to be a safe option, and also a high-scoring game will help him. And then the cheaper options, Kyle Pitts, he's burnt a lot of people this year. It's questionable whether he plays or not. If he is fully healthy and playing, then maybe he can live up to that hype that was given to him at the start of the year. Otherwise, Evan Ingram has been doing fairly decently as well. A couple of games of one reception. Philly game was rain impacted. But 7 for 46, and they play Indianapolis again, and then 6 for 69 against Houston last week. So a couple of games where he's gone above 10 points, but he also hasn't found the end zone yet. So there is some upside there to chase. Anyone at 5K? I don't mind a punt on Cameron Brate. I think he will be the number one tight end at Tampa Bay, although K. Dotton hasn't looked too bad when he's been playing. But Brate is the older guy. I'm expecting to assume the number one mantle again. And once again, Pittsburgh with a lot of injuries on defense. Tampa Bay, I think, will run up a score on them. So I think Brate is a play at just over 5,000. Onto the DSTs. I'll start from the bottom up because there isn't really a lot I like down the bottom. Jets are probably my favourite really cheap one, just because Green Bay coming back from London, they haven't looked too great last year. This year, not last year. I guess my slight concern with the Jets is they haven't been putting up big sack numbers. Top game had 3 sacks in it, and that game had 4 picks as well, and they only put up 12 points. So I think the Jets defense is a bit underrated, but they're also not getting to the quarterback that much. That being said, 4K, they are my favorite out of all of these cheaper ones. The other one, so going up to kind of the middle range, the Patriots against Cleveland. Patriots been putting up some decent DST numbers that culminated in a 22 points last week, shutting out Detroit. Cleveland have been scoring okay, but Jacoby Brissett under center means that there is the potential for interceptions. Uh, Jacksonville and the Colts, both defenses have been fairly good this year. Jacksonville feasted on the Colts last time, shut them out, 5 sacks. Matt Ryan has been taking a lot of sacks behind that offensive line, and that should continue. So I do like the Jags at 5K. And then the Colts defense wasn't too bad last week either. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been that great the last couple of weeks, been throwing interceptions. So the Colts, I think, are a chance of doing well this week on the defense side of the ball. That game I'll be looking to bet the unders most likely. And then the more expensive options, I've narrowed it down to 3. The 49ers absolutely smashing this year, and they're coming up against Atlanta too. There's about 20 sacks this year, 5 interceptions, just putting up massive scores. Atlanta have been scoring a fair bit, but I'm expecting the 49ers to be able to stifle that offense. And then the two most expensive defenses, got the Bucks going up against Kenny Pickett. I think the Bills put. What did the Bills do last week to Kenny Pickett? They put up 14 points, 3 sacks, and held them to 3 points. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a similar result this week for the Bucks. And then the Rams against Carolina. The Rams defense hasn't been that great this year, but they're coming up against PJ Walker, who in his NFL starts just hasn't looked anywhere near the level required to be an NFL quarterback. Even if it is Baker Mayfield has been pretty woeful this year. So PJ Walker, I think, will take a lot of sacks, throw a few interceptions as well, and I think the Rams are capable of putting up a really big score on defense. On that topic, we'll go to quarterbacks. I'll be honest, I haven't looked too much into this, but yeah, I've been looking more at running backs and wide receivers, and then I'll fill out the team based on those. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes coming in at a 2K discount to Josh Allen. I guess Josh Allen has a bit more rushing upside, but Patrick Mahomes still a really solid option as well. I think, yeah, Josh Allen should be a little bit better, but not 2K better. So if you can afford Allen, I'd obviously try and get up to him, but I think Patrick Mahomes, clearly a really solid option as well. Lamar and Kyler, both capable of balling out. Kyler in a good matchup. Lamar just in a contract year with the chip on his shoulder. I'm happy to take both of those guys. Loving Brady at 13,000 in a soft matchup against Pittsburgh, who have basically no defense. Geno Smith, again, targeting that Arizona matchup. Kirk Cousins, also not a bad option at 11,300. Cheaper guys, not really too enthused on many, if any of these. And Dalton is 8K. Didn't do too badly last week. That being said, they put up, I think it was 38 or 39 points, and he still only scored 10 points. So maybe not. Bridgewater expected to be out. Yeah, nothing really too exciting in the cheaper range. I would like to try and spend up if I can. Matty Stafford, actually. I guess the Carolina defense has been okay this year. 10,800 isn't a bad price for a quarterback of Stafford's caliber. Yeah, probably Kirk Cousins or is as a cheaper option, or I really like Brady at 13,000 here. Otherwise, targeting one of the big dogs at quarterback. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of the slate. I haven't built my teams yet, but yeah, I will do that later on. So hopefully that's helped you in some way, and look forward to seeing you back next week for a video where I have a big cash.